What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. We continue to break down the brand new 2021 ESPN FPI Power Rankings and look at some different things here. We're going to be looking in this video at the chances each team has to win their conference, looking at the top 10 teams. So these are the 10 teams that are going to be most likely to win their conference according to the FPI. And we continue this week to look at several different things. We looked at teams that had the best chance to make the college football playoff, teams that had the best chance to, or teams that were supposed to win the most games, things like that. Now we're talking about the conferences, which is a little bit different because we're not just going to see a bunch of Power 5 teams. We're talking about every conference in college football. So you're going to see some teams on this list that you have not seen yet. And we're going to start here with number 10. That's Iowa State. This is a team that you have seen. As you know, the FPI very high on this team. They're number 4 in the country in the FPI, but they have a 28.8% chance to win the Big 12 according to the FPI. That's surprising. I'm surprised that Iowa State is at number 10 here just because of Oklahoma being the favorite. And then also, if you just look at the FPI, they like Oklahoma State, they like Texas, so they like a lot of teams in the Big 12. So to see that number at 28.8% is a pretty high number, and I think the Cyclones have a legit chance to maybe win that Big 12 this year. They're at number 10. At number 9, we've got Buffalo. Buffalo with a 29.4% chance to win their conference, win the MAC, although they're ranked all the way down at number 64. And their FPI is only 2.7. That means against an average team on a neutral field, they would only win by 2.7 points. They're not much above average, and yet they have a great shot. They have one of the better chances out of any team in college football to win their conference. I think that just really goes to tell you that the MAC is not a very good conference, or at least the FBI does not think that they are. So Buffalo here at number 9. Let's go to number 8. That's Coastal Carolina. Now, they are a 7.7 on the FBI, 35th in the country, but they have a 33.6% chance to win the conference, to win the Sun Belt. Now, I don't think that's a really inaccurate percentage. 33.6 may be a little bit high. But the fact that they have a much better chance than Louisiana, that's what I don't understand. Louisiana, to me, is the favorite in the Sun Belt coming into this year. You look at what they have coming back, look at how they finished last year. This Louisiana team is going to be really good. Louisiana only has a 15.5% chance to win the Sun Belt. So they are much lower than Coastal Carolina. And again, I can't quite understand that. I don't know why the FBI is so much against Louisiana, and yet they like Coastal Carolina. So that one is definitely one that I can't figure out. But again, Coastal Carolina, number 8. They have a really good shot to win the Sun Belt according to the FBI. At number 7, we've got Oregon. Oregon, number 17 in the country, 12.8 FBI. They have a 46.2% chance to win the Pac-12. That is a really high number, just under 50%. And I kind of agree with that. I feel like they have separated themselves a little bit. Good quarterback play could really separate them from the rest of the teams in the Pac-12 when you just look at their overall roster. But don't count out USC. USC is a good football team. USC is actually, I think, next in line in the Pac-12. They have a 26.9% chance to win the conference. But again, Oregon is that favorite, and they have one of the better chances to win their conference. Again, Oregon at 46.2%. How about number 6 as we now go over that 50% mark? So these teams from 6 through 1, if you look at these teams versus the field, FBI says take these teams. That's how confident they are that these teams will win their conference. FBI for Cincinnati, they're number 27. They're not ranked all that high of 10.6 FBI, but they do have the 6th best chance to win their conference at 51.3%. I think that's a pretty good number. I think that's fair. When you look at the American Conference, you do have UCF, a team that I think could challenge them. And you got quality teams, not a bad conference. But Cincinnati should be really, really good. That number 27 is a terrible ranking. This is at least a top 15 team. I think they're probably a top 10 team. So, yeah, I don't understand that ranking. But, again, they are the favorites in the American. The FBI would agree with that. And they have them with a better chance than everyone else combined to win that American Conference. And we actually had a tie at number 5. Also here at number 5, we have Alabama. They also have a 51.3% chance to win the SEC, the only SEC team you're going to see in this video, because you've got a very tough conference and you have several teams at the top. I think we had 3 top 10 teams in the SEC with Alabama, Georgia, and Texas A&M. This is the number 1 team in the country according to the FPI, and again, better than a 50% chance to win the SEC. Alabama. They're at number 5. Number 4 is Ohio State. Ohio State has a 53.7% chance to win the Big Ten. They're ranked number 5 in the FPI, 20.5 FPI. I tell you what, I think this is a low number. When I look at the Big Ten, who can beat Ohio State? Who can challenge them in that conference? I don't really see anyone. I think Ohio State should probably be up there closer to the number that you're going to see with Clemson. I think Ohio State is clearly the favorite in the Big Ten. I know there are quality teams. There are teams that are going to be pretty good this year, but there's just not a team that can stack up with Ohio State. And maybe someone can beat them during the year. Maybe they lose a game, but another team winning that conference, I don't see it happening. And so, again, I think that number is a pretty low, 53.7% for the Buckeyes. Moving on to number 3, we have UAB. How about UAB on here? They're ranked 58th in the country according to the FBI, just a 4.1. But again, they're playing Conference USA. Conference that's not all that tough. They've proven that they've been able to do it. They've been one of the more consistent group of 5 programs, and they have a 57.8% chance to win Conference USA. That is a big, big number there. They are overwhelming favorites in that conference, and they have the 3rd best chance to win their conference according to the FBI. Number 2 is Oklahoma. And I thought it was crazy that we had Oklahoma and Iowa State both in the top 10. 2 teams from the same conference in the top 10. That, again, kind of shows you that there's a line between Oklahoma and Iowa State and everyone else in the Big 12. They have a 61.7% chance to win this conference. Big-time favorites there. So we're talking 61.7% for Oklahoma. And then Iowa State, they were at 28.8%. So you add those 2 percentages up. And again, there's just not much left for the other teams. The FBI thinks it's going to be Oklahoma or Iowa State. I tend to agree with that. And they have the 2nd best chance to win their conference, again, at 61.7%. But I think number 1 is pretty clear. It's Clemson, 72.1% chance to win the ACC. And they're number 3 in the FBI, but they have the best chance to win their conference according to the FBI. I agree with this, but I would say that it's going to be tougher for them this year than it has been the last few years. Not in the regular season, not in their division, but I do think that North Carolina and maybe even Miami can play with them this year. I think they're going to have a shot to pull off an upset in an ACC championship game. But still, Clemson's going to be a clear favorite, and I agree with this percentage. It should be really high because it will be very unlikely for Clemson to not win the ACC this year, and at 72.1% chance to win the ACC, the best chance out of any team in college football to win their conference in 2021, according to the FBI. Outside of the top 10, I mentioned USC, a 26.9% chance. Ball State has a 25.3% chance, so they're right there at Buffalo. App State has a 24.8% chance to win the Sun Belt, so they're actually ahead of Louisiana. Also, don't understand the deal with Louisiana. Georgia has a 22.9% chance. Toledo also has a 22.9% chance, so some interesting numbers there. You look at Wisconsin in the Big Ten, they have a 16.9% chance to win the Big Ten. They're actually the next team in line behind Ohio State. And if you want to go to the ACC, North Carolina would be next after Clemson with a 10% chance to win the ACC. And then we talk about winning divisions. I'm not going to do a video on that, but Clemson has an 89.3% chance to win their division. Next in line is Oregon at 76.4%. And again, you can go over to the website or go to ESPN.com and look at all these numbers and compare. I like to look at them. I think they're interesting. I think that it's just another take to get as we try to predict what's going to happen this upcoming season. Is it going to be really accurate? Probably not, but I think there are some things that we can take away from this. And I would agree with the fact that Clemson does have the best chance out of any team in college football to win their conference in 2021. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? Give me your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports College Football Channel.